There is no dispute this ball of light on the right hand of your screen is mysterious. When guards saw it on a surveillance camera Friday, talk immediately turned to ghosts. After all, there is an old Indian burial ground right across the street, and a man was once killed outside the courthouse. But Benjamin Radford believes this light is actually something very normal.
What's more likely? Is it more likely that it's a ghost or that it's, a piece of flying lint? We try to bring a scientific explanation to mysterious and strange phenomena.
He came to the courthouse today to try an experiment.
Try to figure out what the angle would be.
Armed with a tape measure, a homemade tool, some cotton, and...
It might be a moth or some sort of bug. So I brought a little moth with me.
He loads up.
All right, here we go.
And fires. Radford tries to recreate what he believes happened Friday.
In this case, my best guess is that it was a piece of flying cotton or something from the trees around here. See, some of those, you get the right wind, there's your ghost.
But what does it look like on surveillance tape? Here it is. See that dark ball float across your screen? That is the cotton that Radford blew. So why isn't it glowing?
What was the condition last Friday at 7:30 in the morning is not the same condition this morning at 7:30 or right now or any other time. So what you have to do is you have to try to make it as close as you can and then try to infer the other variables.
It was only a bug, an insect that wandered out of focus across the lens. He actually went out and bought some ladybugs and did a test.
There are some parallels with what happened in Puerto Rico in 1995 and what happened with the vampire stories that surfaced in the 1700s in Europe. The vampire tales sort of arose because people were searching for an answer as to why bad things were happening. We need a body, we need a live one, a dead one, scales, spines, teeth, bones, essentially anything but what we have now. Part of the process here is that people, by blaming the chupacabra, it takes the responsibility out of their hands. If I'm a farmer and something attacks my cattle, I can just say, oh, well, I'm the victim of chupacabra and there's nothing I can do about that. Or maybe I need to figure out, is it a disease? Are my cattle being killed by wild dogs or some other predator? If the original mystery is what is causing these supposed animal mutilations, science has good answers for that. We don't need to create a chupacabra to answer that question because we already have good answers to that question. When I first saw the Mansi photo, I was surprised and puzzled just like everyone else. If I don't think it's a fake, I don't think it's a hoax, there's something there. But then the question is, well, what is it? In 25 years since this photo was taken, we're the first people to actually go out onto the lake, do the field experiments, and try to duplicate the photograph. And so we're sort of excited to sort of see, well, what's going on here, and can we really pull this off and come up with something that's valid? If it really is an enormous creature, as some people say, then maybe it's a lake monster. If those estimates aren't true, and it's in fact much smaller, then that broadens the possibilities. The first thing we used was a transparency of her photograph, of the Mansi photograph. What we were trying to do there was to superimpose it on the far shore to see if we could find out where the photograph was taken, because that would help to determine the creature's size. If that photograph was taken at that distance, at that size, we can either compare that to the Mansi photograph and determine that either the photograph is accurate or it's not.
Okay, here's 50 feet.
50 feet.
Okay, hold on.
I'm treading water, but I'm good at it.
I feel your pain, Ben.
Yeah, the hell you do.
What that then should do is to tell us whether the height out of the water is the same as in the Mansi photograph. Well, after the field experiment, we determined that, in fact, the object wasn't nearly as big as Sandra Mansi and others had said it was. We concluded that, in fact, the neck segment is just over 3 feet out of the water, and it's only about 7 feet long. I want to point out that just because it's smaller than everybody said doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a lake monster. But then the question is, well, is it a loon? Is it a sturgeon? There's lots of large fish in the lake. So there are any number of things that could be mistaken for a champ.